Hi, someone asked a question on the channel how to model a bus loop, a continuous bus loop in Vissim, and how to figure out how many loops it can complete in an hour or in a day. So this video is to show how to do that. So I have a 6 kilometer long link. Let's start from there. It goes quite far away. So what I do, I just duplicate it, or I can just create an opposite direction, number of lanes 1. So now I have another lane. So of course I don't know the actual layout, so I will just assume that one lane goes that way and the other comes back. So I'm going to close the end. I put a connector and I do the same on the other end. And now I need to create a link where we can load the bus in. Okay, like that. And with the connector, I just connect it. So we are going to use this link to just feed the bus in to start the route. So I'm not going to use public transport. It is much easier to do with a vehicle input. So I just place a vehicle input. We need to go to traffic vehicle composition. And as you can see, there is no bus there, but I just select bus. I delete the HGV. Now I have a bus 50 km/h. And I can rename this composition bus. So basically this vehicle composition is it is the mix, what mix I'm going to load in. I don't need to change anything else. It will work just fine. So when I go to vehicle inputs again, show list, what I do, I select the vehicle composition that is bus, so that is fine. Then the volume, so I already created a time interval, but let's just come back here. So if you go to base data, time intervals, and you select vehicle inputs. Here, this is what you start with, 0 and nothing. So I click add, and then I just put here 60. This is basically 1 minute, the first 1 minute. So 0 to 60 is the first minute. Then I go back to vehicle inputs, and here I put in 60. So why I do that? When you use vehicle inputs, the demand is always defined in vehicle per hour. So if I have a time interval for the first minute, so 0 to 60 seconds, so that means a 60 vehicle per hour will result in one bus in 1 minute. So with this, I can just add one bus, but we need to do some tweaking. So here you make sure that you select vehicle volumes by time interval and you untick this continuous or continued. So this way, if it's selected, it automatically carries on the same vehicle volume, but we don't want that. We zero out after the first minute. So we'll have only one bus, and I select it to exact. So in this way, we just load one bus in the first minute. So that's done. We need to define vehicle routes. So from here, we need to make sure the vehicle route puts the bus into the loop. So now here, once the bus is off that one, just a few meters after that, I create a new one and I put it back here. It automatically follows the available path, goes all along. So in this way, what will happen? The bus will pick up the static routing here up to this point. From here, it drives a little bit and then picks up the next one, and that will take it all the way through there, and then start again doing the same loop forever. So I don't know how many the viewer, how many bus stops they have in their design. So what I do, I just use stop signs. We can just place a stop sign maybe here, and I use time distribution, and I click add, and I select bus in the time distribution tab. And the dwell time distribution, I'm going to put 30 seconds. So if you go to base data distributions, time, here you can add a new one, or you can just adjust these. By default, it is set to normal. So in normal, you can just double click on it and you can see the distribution, how it is. If you want more, if you put, let's say, 50 in it, then 50 is in the middle. So um, most of the, so like 50% of the vehicles will go below 20, but as you follow, so most of them will be in this range. It's a normal distribution. You can change it to empirical as well, but let's stick to normal. And by you changing the standard deviation, you can just tweak it a little bit, as you can see from its 47 to 53. So you can make that time, the distribution tighter. But I go back to 30 and I put it back to 10, because this way it can be that the bus doesn't even stop very rarely, but it can be like it takes 1 minute for the dwell time in the bus stop. So I can just create a few copy of this stop sign. Of course, you can create as many as you want. This makes the your task much simpler. You don't need to duplicate and just move with your left. So I just placed a few stop signs. Of course, if you want, you can model the bus stops as they are or as per your assumptions. This is like the simplest way to do it. So now I just save it, and we can do all kinds of things. So we can define maybe a vehicle travel time routes. So we can just place a route from here all the way there. So this means it, if a vehicle passes this point, it will start counting the time. And when it arrives back to this point, then it will stop counting the time. I just keep a few meters just so I can see what's going on. So let's just repeat it again. So you click on vehicle travel times, control right click, you click there, and then with the left click, you can just place it behind. In order to use it, you need to go to evaluation configuration, and you need to make sure that the vehicle travel time is selected. You don't need to change anything else there. For simulation, by default, it is 1 hour. So I think it's fine to just do 1 hour now. If you want, you can change it to 24 hours if you want to model, or 8 hours or 2 hours. We can model maybe 2 hours, so have a bigger pool of results. You just leave everything as it is. And of course, as before, I set out in other videos, so you can always increase the number of runs and the random scene increment. So you can put 10 here, and then you will have 10 results or 10 simulation for to average more results. You probably also don't want to just run one bus, so you can run, instead of 60, so one bus per minute, you can load much more bus in to have multiple ones. So you probably better to just model more buses, but I'm going to just do one now. If you want to add more, you can go back to this vehicle inputs, and then you can just define um, more time intervals, for example here. So instead of from 60 to going to 100, you can maybe put 500, or not 500, maybe just keep a few minutes off. Yeah, you can just do 500 and then maybe 560. So this way you will have two time intervals here. just untick those continues, and then you can input again another bus around 8 minutes or 7 minutes or a couple of minutes later. So that way one will not impact the other one. So you can just do this to add more bus service or more buses to have to average more numbers. And okay, so let's run it. Okay, it runs. So that is the bus. It now stopped at the stop sign, so it basically measures the time. And I forgot to say in the middle, sorry, in the start of the video, that it is a completely segregated bus loop, so no traffic interactions. But of course, if there are intersections you probably want to use, you want to consider those intersections or signals or those delays. You can also use stop signs to achieve that, or you can model the actual intersection or signals. Again, I don't know those details, so if you do, let me know and I can consider those maybe later. But now the little bus is running, so let's just speed up the things. And also if we go to evaluation results list, and if we go vehicle travel times, now we can see how many, now we have the second bus. Okay, so what I do, I just am going to run it to the 55th minute. Oh, sorry, not 55th. So like this, to the 55th minute with the quick queue or quick mode. So now, as we can see, so vehicles, 4 vehicles got back. So now there is a new one. Let me just run it to the end of the hour and or 2 hours. So in 2 hours you had 11 vehicles. That means since you have 2 vehicles, so basically they did 5 full circles, plus the previous one, or one did another one. The travel time was 1.1 thousand seconds, and the distance is 12 kilometer 91 meters. So this is basically per bus, an average per bus. So to complete one loop with all the signal or stop signs and everything, it takes 1.1 thousand seconds. So if you divide it by 60, then you can get in minutes, and so on. And from this, you can just calculate um, basically how many buses you need or how many loops they can complete. This was a very simple and quick video. Um, that's why, if you let me know your questions or your scenarios or your project, I can. That's a good idea for me to create videos, and that way I make the ones that you are interested in. So please let me know in the comments your questions or your thoughts. If you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing, or check out my Patreon page if you want to support my channel. Thanks for watching.